So I'm going to share the 7 biggest mistakes that I've made since going to the gym. I've been going to the gym for about 2 years and I have seen significant improvement in my physique. I am pretty happy with it. Obviously, there's room to improve as I'd still consider myself intermediate at the gym. I am 80 kilos right now. That's pretty lean, but obviously I've got some room to improve, as everyone does. So one of the biggest mistakes I've found, and I've recently changed about it in the last couple months, is not recording my workouts. So obviously I find it's important to record my workouts, the simple fact to see how I can progressively overload. Obviously, without using it, you kind of guess what your weights are, especially if you haven't been in a week or you're not thinking right or you're tired. Obviously, you can change it, but using a journal, notes, or an app, I use this app called Strong. It's really good. I can make my workouts and it shows me the previous weight I've done. It's really solid. Like, I can't knock it. It's better than using a journal, in my opinion, and using the notes app. I'd recommend using that. If you want to use a journal, my brother uses a journal. He's pretty happy with that. In general, I just recommend tracking your workouts. So another big mistake that I've made recently, I've changed it, but I feel like a lot of people aren't getting enough sleep. And I'm going to do another video on that later on sleep, but I feel like most people aren't getting optimal sleep after they've worked out. And sleep is extremely important. You see bodybuilders sleeping 10 hours a day as they are aware it is optimal for muscles to be repaired. And this is because of the growth hormone and the hormones being released whilst you sleep, which is repairing the muscle. And if you're not getting good sleep, let's say you're getting 6 hours of sleep after you've worked out, your muscles are going to be sore for another 2-3 days, and it's not really going to repair the muscle quick enough for you to work out again and gain more mass. I've recently changed this and I've found a big improvement, especially with sleep, and there's a whole load of other benefits by changing the amount of sleep that you're getting. It's very important. It's very easy to say get more sleep, but the actual steps towards it, what I recommend doing, putting your phone outside, or if you're too much of a pussy, just put your phone away and just go to sleep. Because what ends up happening is these people, I know I've done this before, everyone's done this before, it's like 10 o'clock at night and you're tired, your body's telling you to go to sleep, but you just scroll on your phone for another hour and then go to sleep at 11, or you might scroll for another hour. And at the end of the day, you're wasting your time. You're not doing anything productive. Just go to sleep and let your body rest. Another key factor I found was my diet. And I'll talk about protein later on, but I'm talking about my macros and the food that I'm eating before I'm going to the gym. Obviously, it's optimal to have some carbohydrates before you work out. I don't do pre-workout or anything like that. I do understand why people do it. I've done it before, but it's not really my thing, especially working out at 10 o'clock. I should have plenty of energy, and as well, you get a crash from it. I wouldn't recommend doing any pre-workout. It's a strong thing. Obviously, if you need it, if you're reliant on caffeine, or if you actually want to feel a really good pump one day, it's not too bad taking it. But if you want to pump, you just have salt or whatever. In addition with the diet, it's very key to have your supplements. So obviously, big thing that I found is inconsistently taking creatine. So I might be taking creatine religiously for a month, then I'll stop taking it, or I'll be very inconsistent with it. And you're not going to get the results you want if you're not consistently taking creatine. Creatine's one of the best supplements you can take. And if you're not having it every day, then you're just wasting your money on creatine. You should have it every day. I sometimes do struggle with it, but I've got a reminder on my phone. That's what I recommend doing. It's telling you creatine. I have it with a shake usually, and that's the best thing I can do. And that's the best thing you can do. It's most important to push yourself at the gym. And if you're not able to push yourself at the gym, what are you doing at the gym? Obviously, you want to be aiming to train one or two reps before failure, or failure depending on the set count, all right? But if you're not training to true failure, I know what people think, oh, I'm training to failure, but most people aren't working hard enough. And I've only found this out the last 3 months, really like pushing myself at the gym, really training to failure where I've got the most benefit from it. Because before it's kind of like, oh yeah, I've done 10 reps, I feel pretty tired, or my shoulder's starting to get really sore now. But it's you got to push through the first initial, okay, this is getting hard, and get into the second and the third wave. That's when you get the extra 3 reps out. That's when you really work the muscle out and get the most growth from it. Because if you're not putting a good effort in, if you're doing half reps, half sets, you're not going to have any progress. The biggest mistake I think I've made my whole gym journey is the amount of protein I'm consuming. I was about 55 kilos, so I would have need to have about 140, 150 grams of protein, which I think is very manageable with what I eat now. But now I'm 80 kilos, and obviously I've grown since then. I've put a lot more muscle on. I find it hard to consume 200 grams of protein. Obviously now my diet is more focused on meat and stuff, and I'm cooking my own meals compared to mum and dad cooking my own meals. But it's very difficult to get 200 grams in. Now, only recently, when I've been cooking my meals, I've got that, 180, 200 grams of protein in. So most people, when they're at home with their parents, it's very easy to blame, oh, well, I can't do anything about it. And I had that feeling as well when mum and dad were cooking my food. It's like, well, it's going to be really hard for me to get my protein in. What I will say is protein powder is key. Obviously, best protein is animal protein in my opinion, but protein powder is not bad. I'd recommend cooking up a fourth meal. I didn't do this. I should have done this, but cooking up a fourth meal where it's just some beef mince, maybe some rice, some beans, something like that together. Good, like extra 60 grams of protein. Maybe put some eggs in the mix there with the beef. Very nice, very easy to cook, not very difficult, and getting your extra protein up, because that is one of the main, I'd say arguably going to the gym, it's 70 to 80% your diet and 20% working out. And that's the same as losing weight. It's your diet's the important thing. If you're not eating the right foods, you're not going to put any muscle on. And I think I fell victim to that, especially until now, where I've put a little bit more mass on and lost weight, is my actual diet. If you are trying to stick in with a calorie limit, what I would recommend is just doing some more exercise, whether that's going for a quick jog for 10 minutes a day. That's where I found the difference, because I found it's very difficult to eat around 2,000 calories while I was trying to get 200 grams of protein in, even if that's just me eating like 500-600 grams of steak and a few other bits of meat. It's not enough to get the protein up, and I would recommend going for a run just to burn off those extra calories if that's what you're looking for. But if you're looking on the bulk, it is not as difficult. This is definitely the second biggest mistake that I've made going to the gym, is the consistency of the gym. So obviously last year I had school as an excuse, but I would go in this like perpetual cycle where I'd go to the gym religiously for a month. I'd be working out 5 times a week, 6 times a week, and I'd be really making progress. And then what would happen, I'd either get sick or I'd get hit with a lot of assignments. And then I kind of thought, oh, well, gym's secondary or tertiary. I don't really need to worry about it. I've got more important things like school. And that's where I think I hadn't made that much progress in 2023, is because I've been so focused on school and I skipped the gym. And it's a little bit disappointing to see. Obviously, I've made progress this year, but for me, it's definitely a big mistake not going consistently, whether that was just 3 times a week, but I just didn't end up going at all because I thought, oh, I've got school on, or I'm not feeling well, so I don't want to overexert my body because then I'll get sick for school. So I think the most important thing I can recommend there is just go to the gym, whether you're working out as hard as you can be. Obviously, I said before, you got to work out as hard as you can. If you can take 1 or 2 sessions a little bit lighter, get back into the routine of going to the gym is the most important thing. Once you get your routine down, that's where you see your gains. Because if you're not working out, you're not going to be eating right, you're not going to be doing all these other things right, and you're out of balance, and then you're just not going to see any results. And I definitely suffered from this year, and I've picked it up the last month when I haven't had school. I've been able to go to the gym at least 4 times a week very easily. So this is the biggest mistake that I've made when going to the gym. And I know how dumb this sounds, but it's the weight that I've been training with. So up until maybe 2 months ago, I was lifting the weights I was doing was too heavy. And you might be saying, oh, well, you got to lift heavy weights to make muscle. But what I wasn't focusing on was the contraction. So obviously now when I work out, it's all about the contraction for me. If I'm working out my shoulders, I really want to feel the contraction in my shoulders, making sure I'm working out that specific muscle. But before, it's kind of like, oh, just lift the weight up and let's focus on the amount of reps rather than in contraction. So obviously you want to be pushing yourself with the weight, but by dropping the weight back a little bit, you're able to focus on the contraction and really feel the muscle being worked out, and you can target that muscle. Because working out, do a chest press, right? If I'm not focusing on the contraction on my chest, I'll end up using my back or using a bit of my leg drive, using a bit of my shoulders, not the upper chest that I'm trying to focus on. So I think that's one of the key things that I found, especially, is just, it's the ego getting in the way, thinking, oh, I'll do 32.5 kilos for my incline press where I can do 6 reps. Well, yes, you can do 6 reps, but what is the point if you're not getting a contraction and you're not working out just your chest? You're working out your whole body doing that weight, and it's not worth it, in my opinion. Obviously, people will say that you have to work out as heavy as possible to build muscle. You obviously have to work out as hard as possible, and that is true, but I would say your form is more important than the weight. And obviously there's no point doing 15 kilo weights when you know you can comfortably do 30 kilo weights on the incline press. But it's just being smart about it and not getting your ego in the way is probably the key thing that I found, especially the last month or two when I've actually really focused on the contraction. My muscles are so much sorer. It's not like the day after, it's still 2 days. My chest is still sore, and I worked my chest 2 days ago. My shoulders are still sore, my back's still sore. And that's how I want to be feeling. I really want to feel the contraction. It's just really focusing on the amount of contraction and just not ego lifting. Because I feel like, especially in the teenage years, you kind of really focus on getting the weight. And that was the main thing. When you're working out with your mates, you're focusing on increasing the weight, not actually building the muscle. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Drop a like and subscribe.